Call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Trustee Nierdowski,
Present.
Trustee Keenley, Trustee May,
Present.
Trustee Perns.
Present.
Supervisor Bussie.
Present. Okay, any public comment? No public comment. We'll go to consent agenda. That's the authorization for payroll bills for town fund, general assistance, road department, sewer, and then my report, social services, employment center, food pantry, youth services, adult and family counseling, transportation, and financial. If there aren't, you all get those in your package. If there aren't any questions, if I get a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Once again, any discussion?
No.
If not, roll call.
Trustee Nierdowski,
Aye.
Trustee May,
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. The approval of the minutes, June 26, 2023, regular board meeting is, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I just have a quick question. Do we need to approve the amended minutes from the month before, or do we not need to approve
I
those?
was looking for those, but I thought that what was done that night was approved, when you guys made the.
Yeah, it was approved as amended.
Okay, so we don't have,
Approved as amended.
Okay.
yeah.
I looked
Very
back,
good.
I couldn't find anything, I was gonna tell you, I'm glad you brought it up.
okay, thanks, no problem.
Okay, if there's no discussion, can we get a roll call?
Trustee Nierdowski,
Aye.
Trustee May,
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. There are no presentations. The reports, elected officials, assessor.
We are currently open for appeals for assessed value with the County Assessor's Office. As I noted in my report, we were not notified when they opened us at all. We happened to find out as a taxpayer came in with a letter from an attorney saying we were open. I immediately got on the phone to the county and expressed my displeasure at their lack of communication. However, everything is being handled very efficiently right now through email, phone calls, and appointments. So because this is a non-tri year, this is very doable. So at this point, we're in good shape. I will be attending CCTA a week from Friday with the board meeting. We've got some issues with the disabled veterans exemption that we want clarified with the county.
Okay. So the IGA with the other townships really only comes into play when, during the triennials?
Yes, but there are other situations depending upon staffing.
Okay.
For example, there was a time many years ago when I had a staff of 2 and both lost a parent in the same week. So things can happen, but probably odds on it would be during a tri-year,
Okay.
which is why I had wanted to get it,
Right.
functioning prior to last year, but wheels grind slowly.
Okay, thanks. All right, anything else? Any questions for the assessor?
No.
If not, the clerk's report?
We had 2 FOIAs this month. The first one, Administrator Piak responded to, and then we had a second FOIA from Better Government Organization about payroll and salaries, and Finance Director Renz responded to that one. I think Administrator Piak was on vacation then, so she was able to take care of it. We also filed our budgets for 22-23 and participated in the Mount Prospect Parade, which thank you all who went. I know it was very, very, very warm. Hot, I guess I should say. So. And we are all set to be in the Elk Grove Parade on September 16th. So please mark the date, and it is at 2 o'clock, that parade.
Okay. On the FOIAs, I'll just mention that we've been getting a number of FOIAs, and other townships have, that are very extensive in requesting information about salaries, about expenses, about historical emails with certain names or certain keywords. And this has become there's been a large number of them, and the requests are rather extensive. In some cases, you can refer them to the website, and that is adequate, though in some cases they claim they don't have access to a website, which who knows if that's really true or not, but and then there's also a gentleman that's been coming to townships with a camera, and will come into different offices and ask for things and talk about things and try to generate a response, and then he posts it on YouTube. So there are issues going on right now in terms of some disruptive requests and disruptive behavior that I'm not really sure what's driving it per se. But it has been more, I mean, you always get some of this, but it's sort of beyond what we normally see.
Is this other townships or? it
Other
happens
townships
there?
are seeing it, we're seeing it. We did not get the gentleman coming into our office, but Maine Township did. And I've heard from other supervisors that this has occurred throughout the state, that same gentleman. The requests for the FOIAs, the extensive FOIAs, are coming in from a variety of different places now, not just the Better Business Bureau, but other places. Some of them are anonymous too, aren't they, the FOIA? Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you can be anonymous, but they're anonymous in terms of the requests. And they want to know specifically about Brian May, no. Okay, so anyway, that was just a little comment there. Supervisors, is there any other questions for the clerk?
No.
Okay. The supervisor's report, the letter will go out shortly to Rapolo subdivision, stating to them that we now have clarified with the village of Elk Grove that the subdivision in Rapolo it's relative, I guess, official now that that area's been purchased by a developer who I think is going to put in another one of these data warehouses again. And those properties have supposedly all been purchased now, and the closing will be, I guess it's the closing, it's going to be like in August. So we are going with a letter to them saying that we're not going to proceed with the signs. We were looking at doing that in May, but we've kind of delayed it till we knew more. And now we'll inform them that it would not be appropriate from a financial point of view to put the signs up to get torn down right away. On the website, just so give you an update there, we now have a straw man, a rather well fleshed out straw man in terms of how it would look, the website would look. The department heads have fed data to our contractor, so it's getting fleshed out more and more. I would hope that we would be able to have this up by fall, late fall, and at that point, the board we'll have a presentation done where you'll be able to see what the website is. I think it's going to be much more interesting. It'd be much easier to navigate, and I think will allow us to emphasize some things that in the past maybe have gotten lost on the website. It really, I think, upgrades our presentation from a township point of view in a core communication device. This is something we really have lagged on, and I think it's going to be really great. When we get the website up and running, then we will look back in the employment center and our strategy for the employment services. There's been talk, as I think I mentioned before, of shifting our focus from providing assistance in terms of resume writing and interview skills to more being a marketplace for jobs. Working with the businesses in Elk Grove and Mount Prospect and other places for posting jobs on the site, and then offering to people who are using the site looking for jobs the resume building and the interview skills, but not lead with that. That would be an ancillary service. And the new website would probably afford us the ability to do that. That said, it is It will be a more difficult process because we're going to be having to work with these businesses to make sure they're putting things on properly and taking them off when the jobs are filled. And it may take a while to build our relationships with them. But I know Oak Grove Village is very excited about us doing this too. So that's the website, and then the related employment center review, so to speak, or repositioning that we're looking at there. Right now, we have, how often is John? John's in just one day a week or 2 days a week for a couple hours? What's?
One partial day.
One partial day. And during the period of time when jobs were scarce and people were looking for jobs, he obviously had a lot more activity. But now that jobs are plentiful and they're looking for people, that his demand is not huge, particularly because people don't have to worry about their resumes and don't have to worry about interviewing skills. They can just get a job. But I think over a cyclical pattern, that service is very valuable, and if we can offer a marketplace for the job information, that would make it more valuable. Surplus equipment, I think that's the road and bridge surplus equipment, the chipper and the trailer and that stuff. That looks like that they will go up on auction in about a week. It's pretty well in place.
You know what website it'd be?
Paul?
Yeah, I don't know exactly the name of it, I get it for you. Wisconsin something or other. If you want it, I'll send it to you, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. We were dealing with several.
Okay.
And it'll be open for a certain period of time, and the highest bid gets it. These are smaller items. We're not gonna set up, we're not gonna worry
Well,
about.
if we can advertise who has it, and I think we might be getting more money that way.
Well, we went ahead and did it this way, so we're already signed the contract with them. So this is out next week, and on there, we worked with two different auction houses or surplus sales businesses, and this is the one that gave us the most flexibility and seemed to fit our needs better. We just want to get the equipment out. We've sold the Mack truck, that was our big asset, and we did very well there. But on these other items, the chipper and the trailer and I forget what else is all that. Riding lawnmower.
Small equipment, a welder, which looks like it's 100 years old.
Yeah.
And some people might want it just for they collect those things. I mean, whether
Right.
they're gonna use it or not, I don't know.
And this is, and to make sure I had this right, this is the one we're using where it is listed and it's open for a period of time, just the highest bid, it just goes. 2 weeks, and then whatever the highest bid is, we run with that.
Yeah, I'd have to check with Izzy, but I think that there was an opportunity to put a price in there, but because she couldn't find comparable things on a website to relate to, because some of these things are 10, 15 years old, we were just gonna go in and see what the bid is. We can reject it if we want. It could be, $10,000 and we want it
Right.
15, or $10. And we
But
want
we don't have a minimum per se on there now.
Well, they got that one company, Machinery Pete. They give you an estimate of what it's worth.
Was that?
They're gonna come out and look at it.
No, you just tell them exactly what you have, and then they'll give you a rough estimate.
Okay.
No, if we have some pieces that just don't get bid on or so, I suppose we could, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, most of these pieces will get a reasonable bid and we can just move on. But if there's something, if there's equipment that just doesn't get really bid on or is ridiculous, then we can revisit the process for those pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
Okay, on coming out of that meeting that several of us went to for the Township symposium or conference, we will be moving ahead with the passport photos, or we'll be offering passport photos. We're just looking for the equipment, the camera to use that generates passport. Well, the camera and the printer then can produce passport quality and size pictures. And I think that's a nice little additional service to do. So it's a one-stop shop. And, we'll charge $3 or something like that, a little bit. One other thing, service that we're kicking around, I'm not going to ask for approval to do this or anything, but there's more and more, in connection a little bit with the mental health issues, there's more and more interest or more and more activity from other townships in terms of wellness, a nurse. In some cases, it's part-time, some cases it's for full-time, in some cases it's a relationship with one of the hospitals. And so we've just been exploring that a little bit in terms of what they do and how they do it. And we did have a nurse years ago. We didn't utilize the nurse real well, and a decision was made to discontinue it.
What were her skills, if I don't,
What were back then?
yeah, what were her duties?
What would you say?
The nurse.
She did.
I know she would go, she went to the trailer parks and, the facility in the front, and she would do blood pressure checks and different
Okay.
things like that.
Okay.
But I don't remember everything else.
Got it.
Yeah, it just was not very extensive and impactful for what we were paying. So a decision was made to discontinue it with the idea we'd look at it again if it became of value. And our social services department is now saying that that may not be a bad thing to look at, because they feel there is increased value in that, particularly now that we're focusing a little more on seniors. We're doing more work with seniors. So that's something that I just want to make you aware that's being thought about. This fall, we will be doing a shredding day with the Mount Prospect Lions Club over at probably Directplex, and we'll also be doing maybe a little later, early winter, another community service day. We try to do those every 6 months, the community service days. That's with the DMV and with the Treasurer's Office and with Lions Club Hearing and Sight, and then the shredding we want to do twice a year, but until we're done here with the construction, we do fall with Mount Prospect, we do spring with the Elk Grove, but they would use our facilities, and we're not in a situation to use them yet here. So once that gets resolved, the construction, then we'll try to do that twice a year, one in Elk Grove here and one in Mount Prospect. And there's some other things, but that's the two that I think that are sort of stand out. The parades, like Sue Ellen said, thank you for coming out, particularly those brought your family out. That was great. I think it really gave us a presence. It was fun. Swear to God, I bought so much extra candy. I thought, we'll have candy for the Elk Grove parade now. I mean, I think I had like 15 Tootsie Rolls left is all that was left. And then Perns ate those. But it was.
I shared.
It was good. And then the Lions Club behind us, I had bought candy for them. They were out 3/4 of the way through, and I think stole some of ours.
It was fun.
But I think it's great to have the presence in the parades and the market days and the culture days, things like that. And Corey, I think, is doing a good job making sure we have a presence there, particularly with the social service side, because people need to know what we're doing, and our services continue to expand. And just as a comment on the food pantry, are 850 families a month now, and which will lead into something else I'll talk about a little later. Okay, any questions? Does anybody have any questions for me?
I got a question.
Okay.
That maintenance person you're looking for, what are the qualifications?
Well, that was another one. That's like the nurse. It's just something we're talking about. I'll talk a little bit about, we can't find a handyman anymore. It's very hard to find handymen to do some of the things that need to be done around here. There's been some discussion or talk about hiring a maintenance man or having a part-time maintenance guy who would do obviously maintenance work around the building, and whatever's needed, whether it's hanging up pictures or whether it's fixing.
Well, would that person have to be certified, like a certified electrician?
We're not that far yet.
Okay.
We're just talking about it is all we're doing. But it would be someone that would do repair work, basic repair work, and maybe help also with the cleaning on the weekdays, so that maybe our cleaning service, we can reduce the amount of times that we use them for deep cleans, maybe just deep cleans, and he would be in the meantime for picking up trash cans and stuff like that. So as a combination between maintenance work and maybe some basic cleaning, which would allow us to reduce our cleaning service, how would you say, moderate our contract with them. But that's just something that is sort of like with the nurse. It's just the first time, just sort of out there in discussions. And if we look like we want to go further, or we want to go any deeper, I'll certainly bring that back. But those are two positions that have been discussed. And I'll throw out there another one, neurological psychologist. That would be through, we wouldn't hire someone for that. That would be through the Jocelyn Center, where maybe we'd contract for a couple hours a week. That's largely in regard to school IEPs, where the schools, if they do not feel an IEP is justified, a parent can get an independent IEP done, and bring that in to challenge that there's no IEP. Low-income families can't afford that. So this would be sort of it's not a regular occurrence, but it does occur. And so there's been some discussion that if we use, like we do a psychiatrist, a neurological psychologist, plus there's other things, we contract for a couple hours, an hour or two a week, or an hour or two every 2 weeks. It depends what it is, to be able to provide that service to low-income families that have no alternative to challenge.
And communicating with the other townships too, that might be collaborative.
Yes, we could also be collaborative. That could also be. We could also go into Jocelyn Center and they say, well, we can't find one, or it's just too expensive. And we could say, all right, well, we'll maybe collaborate with a couple of the other townships, and jointly we can guarantee so many hours that we will contract with you. It gives them a better ability to go out and hire. If they know that they have so many hours that they'll automatically get, that will be locked in. But this, once again, the maintenance, nurse, neurological psychologist, these are things that are on the table, but are not on the top of the list right now. They'll bubble up at some point. And they're being driven a lot of times by our social services, youth services, counseling, family house, where they'll mention, I'm seeing more of this, I'm hearing more of that. And then also from the conferences and seminars we go to, where we hear about what other townships are doing, it kind of, says, well, I've heard something from Corey, and now these guys are doing this, maybe that's something we could do. And that's why it's very valuable when you guys go to these events as well too, and you hear stuff, that you need to come back and, and say, hey, what about this? Or maybe we could do that, or whatever. Because, the thing we're really trying to do is become as comprehensive in terms of what we provide from a mental health and senior and low-income services, where we are the provider of those services in our communities, so that the villages and other government bodies can focus on their core competencies. And I think we're getting to the point where we're really provide a comprehensive base of services, though there's still some more to do. Okay. If there's no other questions for me, can I get a motion to approve the elected officials' reports?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, any discussion, or any other thing else? If not, on this one, I say all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, passes. Let's see here. Old business, we don't have any old business. New business, this is where I said I'd kind of push this off, but I wanted to inform you all in terms of construction. We had a meeting with one of the owners, as well as our project manager, Pete, and because I was getting concerned, I'm not seeing much activity out there. The issue is labor. They can't hire enough workers, and then there's some other issues too that are popping up. But I indicated that they said that they would have this done by the summer, end of the summer, and I'm getting concerned that it's not happening. And they said, we'll have it done by the summer. Once we get going, it's just a couple weeks, and we'll have it in place. We'll see. In the meantime, we are making progress in the building. The youth services room is being pretty well finished out. The ceiling needs to go in, the drop ceiling, but it's been cleaned out. It's starting to get painted, the floors. And the bathroom next to that is also pretty well near completion as well, too. So if you remember in the back there, we have a bathroom that kids can use. If they need to go to the bathroom, they can come back there and use it. And then we have the old bike safety room, which is now going to be youth services / small community room. There is going to be also a storage room for youth services that comes off of that, that will be connected to it. And that seems to be progressing well. So you have the challenge course, bike safety, where I'm not seeing much going on right now, other than I'm digging up the asphalt and tearing down the salt bins and stuff. And I'd like to see more progress there. Inside, with the bathroom and the youth services room, the storage, youth service community room and storage, that is moving along pretty quickly. Since we got the grant from Build America, I guess, through State of Illinois and Representative Mussman, I could look a little more broadly in terms of filling out some of the other things that we'd been discussing. So I wanted to make you guys aware that I'm asking for for a quote, so to speak, for off of that youth services room that's in the back, the old bike safety, and if afterwards you want to walk back there, we can. You go into the youth services to the right if you're walking this way, south. You have the bathroom to this side, and then you keep going into the big room storage room we have there. When you come right in and into the left, there was storage room was going to be there, but now what we're looking at doing is taking the whole space, used to be a big tool room, taking that whole space, and we've cleaned it out and everything, and turning that into youth services office and storage. So youth services would potentially move back there. We'd build it out for them, and maybe we'd have a glass door or something on there so they can look into the youth services space. But that would accomplish three things. One, it would allow open up space for us in the adult family counseling, because if we're, another thing is therapists. And it would also get Renee and Ed back by their kid, where the kids will be mainly the bike safety challenge, that youth room for the programs. And it will also provide them with their own space, kind of quiet for their purposes, focused on them. And that's not a real expensive build out, to be quite honest. We're taking a space, we'll put floor, we'll put drywall in, drop ceiling in, put some desks and workspaces in, and the storage will be back in there. So it's not a real expensive add for us, and it kind of moves our youth services to the back area. The bikes will move into the big storage room, but I mentioned on the bike storages, the big storage room, we're looking at cleaning that out, totally cleaning it out, redo the floor in there, and then structured it, building it out in a way that we haven't cleared up yet for storage of foods, because it's helter-skelter all over the place back there, but store it in an organized fashion, the different type foods. There'll still be that room in the back that we can keep maybe, the idea would be make that more of a safe room for things that be vulnerable to bugs or mice or whatever it is. The stuff outside would be things that we could store about cans and stuff we could store more in the open, but it'd be structured. And then also it'd be an area for the medical closet equipment and an area for the bikes to be stored as well too. So that is, once again, would just be clearing that space out, cleaning it up, painting it up, and then structuring clean spaces for storage. That little office back there where you come in the garage, you guys used to seeing the little, that's really storage for food right now. Ultimately, that could be, if we had a maintenance man, that could be his office. We could change that into an office. So when I'm talking about an expansion in the vision here, and if you guys have pushback, would tell me no or yes or whatever, we're adding an office for youth. So we're looking to add an office for youth services back there next to the youth services community room in their storage space, and we're looking at taking that big space and turning that into an organized, clean storage space for food, medical closet equipment, and the bikes. And both of those are not extraordinarily expensive. but they could very easily be covered by the grant and still have money left over to cover things like adding some technology to the youth and community service room and putting smart TVs and things in there. So does anybody have any questions on that? And is there any opinions or any thoughts?
I think that makes sense. Did you say you're going to seek out quotes?
Yeah, well, for our current contractor, it's probably easier for him to give me an idea what he would charge, and then I'll do a change order is probably what I'll do. But I want to see what he's offering first and see if it seems reasonable. If it's not reasonable,
Right.
then I may break it out separately. But I think they're going to be very reasonable.
It appears to me it would be more efficient for them to do it.
Yes, absolutely. They can do it cheaper than somebody else could do it. Unless they try to gouge us, but I have not found that in our relationship with them at all. Okay, any questions on that? That's just, once again, another thing, and I always am open to any feedback on that. If you think of something that you think should be maybe different, or think about this, or think about that, that's, because we're in this process now, and I'm also trying to do it in a way that leaves us the ability to change it if we need it, to use it for some, I mean, give us, not do so much where it's locked in per se back there until we get more clearly where we're going. Okay, if there's
Can I
nothing,
ask a quick question?
yeah.
I'm just wondering, with bike safety, will we have a person hired to work with the schools so the kids can come this fall, or is that too quick?
I don't know if we're gonna be able to do it this fall,
Okay.
because this is dragging out a little longer again. What the thought process was there is once again, hiring a bike safety director, but it was full-time, but it was seasonal, basically. They were paid full-time, but they were seasonal. And I don't know if we got our money's worth out of doing it that way, because it's very focused on this fall and the spring. And in the off times, there just wasn't a lot for that person to do. So there's been some discussion about maybe looking for a bike safety director for the fall and spring, who could also be a facilitator for youth services with Renee and Ed, could be another facilitator for helping run their programs in the off seasons, the winter and the summer. That way we get if we hire someone full-time like we were before, we would get, I think, a more productive individual that would also help Renee, not just with the bike safety, but with other programs.
And she can use that.
Yeah, that would be helpful. You guys are getting all of this out of me today. All right, those are things that, that just are discussed, and I want to keep you guys aware of what's, particularly if they're starting to become a little bit more something we're thinking about a little bit more seriously. Okay, if there's nothing more on that, then I want to, we have we're looking to hire a new counseling therapist. We've got a waiting list of 15, 16 people. If you remember, we went with Jocelyn for a psychiatrist that we could use, that would be our psychiatrist basically for certain periods of time. And we did that because Kenneth Young had a real long waiting list. And they also had a waiting list for therapy as well too. We didn't have a waiting list for therapy. Now we have a waiting list for therapy, and it's enough where it would be it's enough. Usually the therapists do have about 17, 18 clients at any one time, and we're at that point. So we'd be looking to hire a new therapist position. It's very difficult, but we are talking to someone right now who would be bilingual and would also be experienced. And so what I want to do is get approval from the board. If I replace a position, hire someone to replace position, then I can do that. But if I'm hiring someone new for a new position, then I want to get the board's approval for that. So this would be hiring an additional therapist. We've got our clinical director. We've got a full-time in Carmen, a full-time in Tanya, and a part-time right now. This would be adding a fourth full-time, and we have one part-time then. So that would be, we'd have 4.5 therapists at that point. The salaries run around the 60,000 is where they run. And so, at this point, I think it's important that we are able to meet the demand that's out there. We have the resources to do it. The demand has continued to pick up. And once again, if we want to be if we want to be a full-service provider that is timely and effective, I think we need to keep up with the demand, particularly if it's a demand that isn't just a cyclical demand. On this side, I don't think we believe it's not the case. Luann feels this is will be an ongoing trend because people become more aware of what we've done, and because our demographics are changing, and because we are very, very reasonably priced, we're free for people that can't afford this type of service. So what I'd like to do is first get a motion to approve to add a new therapist position to our adult and family counseling department, and then get a first and a second, then we can open up for any discussion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion, any other questions on this?
No, if we need it, we need it.
Yeah, right, and this is where we want to go. I mean,
Right.
this is a good thing,
Right,
and this is, I think, our vision.
right.
So we shouldn't be reluctant
Right.
to go down this path.
And we can financially afford this, given our financial position. If at some point, we add, another therapist, and we add another, how would you say, specialist in adult, and it's older adult counselor, we add a bike safety facilitator and youth services. At some point, even though we have not raised our levy in 10 years, at some point, we may need to do that. And I think that's reasonable, particularly if we're doing it on the social service side of things. We're not doing it on road and bridge anymore. We don't need to. And Connie has her department under total control, and she is financially effective and efficient.
Wishing you luck.
Yeah.
I'll write that down.
Yeah, I put that down there. So, it's, just like you said, Dale, I think it's something we probably need to do and can do.
The waiting list is already there, the post-COVID years, this
Yeah.
is going to trend upward.
Yeah, I agree.
The writing's on the wall already, so, very
All
good
right,
idea.
so we have the first and seconded. If there's no further discussion, roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee May.
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. Okay, is there there's no other new business, is there any discussion, comments from the trustees? Anything else that you guys want to put out there at this point? Okay, we do have an MTA symposium on the, what is that, 28th, is it, Paul? Do you remember when the MTA symposium is?
I think it was September 28th.
September 28th?
September, yeah, it's the 18th to the 28th. I don't know if I have it on my calendar.
It's very similar to what the one we had, the TAC conference that we had, 5 o'clock in the evening on a Thursday. It'll have some educational sessions, as well as, a business meeting and some other stuff, and a chance to interface with others. MTA, if you remember, it's a separate township organization, was created by the suburban townships, because our interests and our needs are different than downstate, and because there's so many downstate townships, the focus tends to be a little more on the downstate townships. So we created, and Mike Sweeney was involved with that, with the MTA, wasn't he? I think so, yeah, in the
Yeah.
formation of the MTA. It's sort of, the lead has kind of been taken by Hanover Township, and that's where the meeting will be at 5 o'clock on the 28th.
20.
And we'll get out more. Could you make sure we get more information out to everyone on that? And if you can go, I think these are things, an evening, and it gives you a chance to attend some of these sessions, talk to other people, and the township covers it for you.
I think they said the schedule was 5 to 8.
5 to 8, yeah, so it's not that bad. And it also, too, if it's at High Hanover, we'll get to see their unbelievable
Yeah.
facilities.
It's a wish
Which
list.
are the, you got different extremes in terms of what the township size of what they do, and this is on the one, they do a lot side. And the other one is, don't forget the annual conference in Springfield in November. And as soon as you know you can do that or not, get that in to Paul and Erica so they can reserve a spot, and then,
Don't send anything to her. She didn't have anything to do with it.
pardon?
Erica didn't have anything to do with it.
Oh, to you?
Me recapping it and telling her what,
All right, so go to Paul.
just send it to me or I'll take care of it.
Right. And this year, he's gonna get us in the good hotel, too. Not
Don't count on it.
not the Joe's Hotel that you do by the hour,
And that's leaving the 26th, then, Sunday the 26th, yeah.
All right, any other comments or discussion? Afterwards, I just wanna, if you could hang around just a second, I got something else for y'all.
And the annual conference is November,
26th, leaving Sunday.
Yeah, I think
27th is Monday.
Yeah.
So
it's the-
26th,
it's-
28th.
Yeah, I think so. Isn't that it?
Yeah.
Don't remember. Yeah, I think, that I don't know, for some reason, I don't have it in my calendar.
Wait a minute.
that was the 13th.
Yeah, because
Wait.
sometimes it'd be right around
Yeah, it's usually
Thanksgiving.
before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's not, no, I'm sorry, my bad, not the 26th, 27th, that's our meeting. I have it down wrong.
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah, it's in November. I'm not sure what the specific dates are. I'll have to take a look. But usually, like I said, we usually go down on Sunday, and you can go back on, if you really have to, go back Monday night, or in the past, some of us have gone back on Tuesday afternoon. You don't need to be there on Wednesday,
Okay. Sunday to Tuesday.
yeah.
I can just go till Tuesday.
Pardon?
It just goes till Tuesday. It starts the
Yeah.
Monday, and then Tuesday is the breakfast, the work breakfast, and after that, then the afternoon is lunch with the different divisions.
Yeah,
Supervisor-
on Wednesday.
On Tuesday.
No.
It's just Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Oh, is that what it is now?
Yeah.
I thought it was Sunday, Monday, well, there's not much Sunday.
No,
It's
it's
Monday,
Sunday.
Tuesday, and I thought Wednesday morning, and that's when you had that's what I thought was last year. We had the supervisors and clerks, and they all met in the morning on Wednesday. Didn't they? I don't know.
I didn't understand that
Yeah,
one.
anyway, the bottom line is that in the past, I would go Sunday afternoon, come back Tuesday right after the sessions were done. You can stay Tuesday evening, there's a social, and I thought the next morning was the clerks meeting and the supervisor meetings, but you don't need to stay for that. You got jobs and you got work you need to do, so, yeah.
I got an email about the symposium from TAC. I'm wondering if the new trustees
You got it from MTA?
yeah, but it's from the TAC assistant.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if he has all of your contact info.
Why don't you forward that to him?
Yeah,
She'll forward this to y'all if you haven't seen it,
and make sure that you're on the email list,
yeah.
so you get everything. Okay.
Okay? All right, if there's nothing else at this time, anything else, Connie, Dale, Brian, David? Okay, if not, we don't have any closed session, an executive session requirement, so I get a motion to adjourn?
So move. Second.
Okay? We're adjourned. I need to vote.